Okay, good to see you all. Happy Inauguration Day. I wanted to come on here today because I'm feeling so hopeful. I'm feeling so inspired to see the first female vice president of our great country was a really special thing for me as a mom to watch with my twin daughters and my husband this morning. So I'm hoping that this message is reaching you. Also feeling like you're in a place of hopefulness, of feeling inspired, feeling like things are possible. The energy of possibility is healing, especially when we are still in a traumatic time. And I was really struck today by the power of language. I was really struck today by the powerful words that we were listening to during the inauguration, in the songs that were sung, in the prayers that were shared, in the poems that were recited for us, and in the power of words to try to unify this country when President Biden was speaking. And it got me thinking about powerful language and how even when we feel like we have nothing left to give, which is how a lot of us as EMDR therapists and trauma therapists may be feeling. I know I've definitely had several moments the last couple of weeks feeling that way with clients. I'm really just remembering and noticing that no matter where we are, we always have access to powerful language, because powerful language doesn't really require a lot to use. It's just available to us all the time, which is really beautiful, I think. So today I wanted to talk about a word that I really love. I love it as a mother, I love it as a teacher, and I love it as an EMDR therapist serving populations that are really feeling helpless and overwhelmed. I support a lot of parents, mothers specifically, and healthcare workers, as many of you know from my previous podcasts. So I wanted to talk today about the power of the word yet. The power of the word yet, and how you might incorporate this into your EMDR sessions. We'll be talking about that today. For those of you who haven't connected with me before, my name's Cambria Evans. I'm the teaching and learning EMDR consultant with a private practice in San Jose, and really just have enjoyed coming on here on this podcast and sharing my ideas, thoughts, strategies since COVID began, and really invested in supporting the EMDR community to help as many clients as possible and sustain the mental health of my fellow EMDR clinicians. So let's think about the power of the word yet together, shall we? So I wanna give credit where credit is due. There's really two people in my life that I have known, not just in the literature, but also personally, who have reminded me of the power of the word yet. And before I talk about them and their work, I want to mention, the word yet gives us something. It gives us a sense of to be with what is, right? To be with trauma, to be with grief, to be with anger, to be with helplessness, to be with what is and not dismiss that or deny that, as we might see, people doing with what we call, toxic positivity, where they're like, everything's fine, don't look over here, right? When we use the word yet, it allows us to be with where we are now. And it also allows us to notice that there's a there. Does that make sense? So if I use the word yet, I'm doing two things. I'm with what is now, and I'm noticing there's a there over there. We're not there yet, but it's there, okay? Hopeful, powerful, one word. What inspired me, aside from the inauguration ceremony this morning, to talk about this, like I said, there's two people. The first is Dr. James Pawelski. I had the honor and privilege of working with him during my master's education at Vanderbilt. He was a professor there before he went on to UPenn and worked really closely with Martin Seligman in the field of positive psychology. And for those of you that are familiar, positive psychology teaches us that if we focus our mind on something positive, then positive feelings come from that. And as EMDR therapists, we already know that. We already know that if we use BLS and focus the mind on a positive adaptive resource or adaptive memory network, we're going to enhance it, not just cognitively or with images, but also in the way our bodies feel, right? And so taking positive psychology courses in graduate school with Dr. Pawelski, I was able to understand that we're not denying the now, we're choosing to focus our mind on the positive because that gives us some adaptive resources. It allows us to notice that there's a there all the time, right? Even in our minds. Even in our minds. And the second person I want to give credit to is Dr. Carol Dweck. So she is someone that I had the pleasure of working with when I was at Stanford Medical School. She and I put together a faculty retreat for a lot of physicians at Stanford. And she really knows about what's called growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And if you're an EMDR therapist who has clients coming in, a lot of relational trauma or complex trauma, you already know that a lot of these clients come in with a certain narrative, right? And they come in with a certain idea about what they can and can't do, who they can and can't be. And it tends to be a fixed mindset, doesn't it? Right? This is who I am. This is where I am. This is what I know. And then in that space, there tends to be a lot of rigidity, helplessness, hopelessness, right? Lots of just heaviness, depression, or anxiety, right? Like, oh, I'm just here and I'm just here. And so in a growth mindset, Dr. Dweck has written articles and books about this as well, if you want to check her out. I believe she's still at Stanford. In a growth mindset, we are in the space of the positive cognition of, I can figure things out. That's essentially, if you were just to take her book and summarize it, it is the positive cognition. I can figure things out. I can learn new things. I'm always learning, right? This is a growth mindset, okay? And so I think what's really beautiful about this and important about this for our clients is to give them a growth mindset in our work together. And we can do that with one word, yet. Okay, so let's think a little bit about how you might use this word. What might that look like in session? So let's say, like I mentioned before, our client comes in and has a narrative of themselves, of their life. We see this all the time with new clients, right? This is who I am. This is what's happened to me. This is what I can do. This is what I can't do, right? Fixed mindset, okay? By using the word yet and incorporating that into just history taking and assessment, just resourcing, right? Not even processing yet. But when we use this word from the beginning, we are teaching them about a growth mindset without getting into the jargon, aren't we? Okay. So this is important because we are allowing the client to internalize from the beginning, from phase one, that they can be in their integrity, in their value system, they can be a yet person. They can be a person who can use the word yet, understand what that means, understand that things change, feelings change, situations change, people can learn, people can change and grow. If they have the adaptability, flexibility as part of who they are in their character, developing that with you, especially for complex trauma, relational trauma, how beautiful is that to give them that gift? Right? They'll come in and say, I want to do this target or this target. But how beautiful to actually consciously, intentionally give them the word yet to incorporate as, I'm a yet person. I'm just hopeful. I know things can change. In fact, the only thing that's guaranteed is that things will change, right? The second way you might want to use the word yet with your EMDR clients is to think about the clients where targets are taking a long time. I'm going to make a separate podcast about this question of how long should an EMDR intensive take, or rather an EMDR target should take. But for today, what I'll say is that we all have had clients who are frustrated about how long it's taking to complete the target, right? To get this down to 0 and clear the body. So we can use the word yet. Yeah, we're not there yet, right? We haven't completed the target. We're not there yet. And when we use that word yet, we are doing a couple things. We are saying there's a there there. There is a there. We're going to. I can see it. I believe in this. I believe in you. I believe in the process of EMDR. I'm holding that torch of belief and hope, right? We're not there yet. We're still figuring it out. We are infinite learners, aren't we? Isn't that amazing? Okay. And the third way you might want to think about using the word yet is in our interweave selection. Okay. So I want to think about, when we do interweaves that help facilitate learning with clients, because that's really all interweaves are. And I'm going to talk more about that in my course coming up called the Lesson Plan. But if you think about how to facilitate learning with interweaves, how powerful could it be to use these interweaves with the word yet? Here's some examples. What's it like to notice that you haven't figured that out yet? What's it like to notice that she hasn't yet noticed you changing? Right? So that actually is giving an interweave around someone else having the power to change, to give you what you want in a relationship, right? What's it like to notice that your body doesn't yet believe that you're safe now? Okay? What's it like to notice that this nightmare hasn't yet fully processed and figured out what it needs to know or do? What's it like to notice that this part of you doesn't know what it needs or wants yet? Okay, we are giving so many positive, I believe in you, hopeful messages when we just use the word yet. It's beautiful. It's simple. I love when things are simple and beautiful. I don't like complicated stuff. I have twins. I have a lot going on. Let's just go to a simple, basic word that has a ton of power. Okay? I do want to say that there are 2 ways that you maybe should not use the word yet. And here's what they are. So the first one is, like I mentioned before, this phrase toxic positivity, which denies what is now, and really focuses on being shiny or perfect or happy or like the pressure to be happy, right? We don't want to use the word yet to encourage toxic positivity, okay? We don't want to use the word yet to be inappropriately hopeful. And kind of a sub-bullet of that, reason number 2, is that we don't want to use the word yet about other people who likely will not change. So, or if the person were to wait for them to change, it might be dangerous. So an example of this is if you have a client who is in a relationship with domestic violence, okay? I would not use the word yet about the abuser's behavior. It would not be clinically appropriate for me to say things like, well, I guess your abuser hasn't figured out yet how to use their words like a big boy, right? I really want to keep it about the client personally, or I want to keep it about safe people in that person's life. Does that make sense? So I hope that feels helpful. I hope it feels hopeful and simple. We need to keep it simple right now, you guys. There's a lot going on. And also what I want to say too before I close is that, I know there's a vaccine that is rolling out. I'm hoping that under this new administration, there'll be accelerated vaccination for us. And what I'll say is that, this is not the end. And while we are close to the end of a very helpless time, a very dark time, there will undoubtedly be challenges and other helpless times ahead. So I want to invite you to just remember that even when we overcome this pandemic, even when we are fighting through, climate change and racial injustice and all the things that have really been brought to the forefront for us in 2020, undoubtedly there'll be something. There'll be more challenges ahead, and we always have access to powerful language. You always have that available to you, no matter where you are or who you are. So what I want to say also is thank you for all of your service to your clients. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I hope that it felt helpful to you. I hope it felt hopeful for you. If you're interested in learning about powerful language and other ideas around that, especially with interweaves, I will be releasing my course, The Lesson Plan, hopefully at the end of January or early February, depending on my kids' needs and wants from their mom. They're 4. And if you want to check out the course or get on the waiting list, you're welcome to do that. People who sign up for the wait list now will get a 20% discount at purchase as a thank you for encouraging me and your interest. So there's a link below if you're watching on YouTube about that. And if you just want more free resources, you're welcome to sign up for Zero Disturbance. We do have 6 free videos and 6 free downloads you're welcome to use in your practice that cover a range of topics that I have felt like I wanted to create for our community because they didn't exist. And I feel like I'm in this space of inspiration, in this space of I feel like I'm on a mission to continue to create things for our clients and our community as EMDR clinicians, things that don't exist yet, but we should have, that we deserve to have. It was my inspiration for making the EMDR Intensive Design Kit. It was my inspiration for making this lesson plan course coming up, and I will be releasing 2 other kits in the spring and summer because I want us to have everything that we need to do our jobs, and not just do our jobs, but do our jobs with joy, because we really do have the most amazing job in the world. So so good to be with you. You're incredible. I'm so proud of you, all the work that you've been doing, trusting that you're giving yourself some good, responsible self-care, and look forward to connecting next time. In the meantime, please be safe and take care. Bye-bye.